Live from WTOC, the Southeast News leader. The News Now starts on WTOC Plus.
Well, we start with an update to a story we first brought you at 10 o'clock here on WTOC Plus. We now know that 2 people were displaced after a house fire in Savannah. It happened at 9:21 this morning on the 700 block of East Gwinnett Street. Crews responded to a residential structure fire with visible smoke. Now, EMS treated 1 resident with injuries, and Savannah Fire said that 2 residents have been displaced. The fire was put out as of 9:40 this morning, according to Savannah Fire. Turning now to the Crime Watch. 4 suspects charged in a man's murder in Hinesville 3 months ago have been granted bond. The shooting happened in broad daylight. 3 of the 4 charged in the death of 26-year-old Devin Copeland were granted a $400,000 bond. The 4th, Jared Elmore, was given a $100,000 bond and is the only one currently out. Copeland's mother, Elizabeth Stoddard, says she was told not to address the court as she went to every bond hearing. She says the suspects' families were able to speak, though.
I don't feel like all the individuals that were involved in the murder of my son should have been granted bond based on the severity of what happened.
She says she's still waiting to hear from the assistant DA after finding a possible blood stain inside her son's apartment. A victim advocate believes it predated her son's death. Hinesville police confirm the investigation remains ongoing. And we have an update about an overturned car crash in Bryan County. 3 people are dead after the crash involved a stolen car and a police chase that all started in Bullock County. The Bryan County Sheriff's Office says a man stopped to help a driver who was out of gas around 4 p.m. on Sunday. The stranded driver, Anthony Forney, climbed into the man's truck and took off. The owner used GPS tracking to find it and called 911. That's when deputies responded to this scene on Ash Branch Road in Pembroke. They reported to see Forney now driving a silver Camry. The car swerved out of control and fell into a ditch. Forney then shot and killed himself inside the car. Deputies searched properties nearby and found the stolen pickup truck. They searched inside a home and found a married couple dead inside. The victims are Craig and Rhonda Lehner, and the investigation is ongoing. In the Low Country, Hampton County has added 2 new officers, and they're installing cameras to help tackle a recent rise in teen crime. These initiatives were talked about during a community meeting last night in Estill, hosted by the Sheriff's Department. The 2 deputies are community officers who are stationed in Estill and Brunson. They are there to enforce the law and build deeper relationships with the folks they serve. The ALPR cameras will be installed in Estill after the department saw good results from them in the northern part of the county.
We have some deployed in the town of Brunson right now, and that has helped us tremendously. So I got with our engineer, and he's going to draw up some plans, and we're going to have some deployed on the south side as well.
The camera should be installed in Estill in the near future and will be another tool the department can use to track down suspects, even if a deputy is not able to respond right away. And leaders in Beaufort County want to create a hate crime ordinance similar to the ones already in place in Hardeeville, Bluffton, and the city of Beaufort. It makes it illegal to intimidate or threaten someone based on gender, sexual orientation, race, religion, or other things. The Beaufort County Attorney presented pros and cons of ordinances from other South Carolina cities and counties. Council members say they are ready to draft their own version for their county.
Rather than using the other models that we have, is get a model for us that we can look at, have an adequate discussion about it, and if there are some objections about holding parents accountable, take it out. But let's do something to go on the record that we do not believe that this should be happening.
Now, Council also plans to draft a letter or resolution to encourage state lawmakers to pass a statewide hate crime bill, as South Carolina and Wyoming are the only 2 states in the U.S. without one. Turning now to international news. President Trump says the war with Iran could end soon, though he's also issuing a threat that Iran could be hit 20 times harder in the future if it stops the flow of oil in the region. Effects on oil markets from the conflict are already causing pain at the pump here in the States. This as the body of the 7th U.S. service member killed in the war returned home to American soil. CBS's Jared Hill has the latest.
New video released by the Pentagon overnight shows U.S. strikes destroying Iranian missile launchers.
Everything they have is gone.
As President Trump signaled that the war on Iran is winding down, telling CBS News in a phone interview, quote, "The war is very complete."
It's going to be ended soon, and if it starts up again, they'll be hit even harder.
The president doubled down on that last threat on social media overnight, warning death, fire, and fury will rain upon Iran if they do anything to stop the flow of oil through the Strait of Hormuz. The waterway through which about 20% of the world oil travels has been effectively closed since the strikes began, sparking wild swings in global oil markets and sending gas prices in the U.S. up nearly 50 cents since last week.
They're just so high, you know. Sometimes you have to choose between gas and other things that you really need.
President Trump is also voicing disappointment over Iran's new supreme leader, Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei, son of the former supreme leader killed in the first day of the strikes.
We think they should put a president in, or the head of the country in, that's going to be able to do something peacefully for a change.
As deadly U.S. and Israeli attacks continue, Iran's retaliation relentless, launching missile and drone strikes on Israel and U.S. targets in nearby countries. Late Monday, Vice President J.D. Vance attended the dignified transfer of a 7th U.S. service member. Army Sergeant Benjamin Pennington, the 26-year-old, died from injuries sustained in a March 1st Iranian attack on an airbase in Saudi Arabia. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Back here in the Peach State, polls are now open in the nation's most watched special congressional election. More than a dozen candidates are running to replace Marjorie Taylor Greene, who announced her resignation from Congress back in November. 12 Republicans, 3 Democrats, 1 Independent, and 1 Libertarian are running, which will likely lead to an April runoff. Greene, who was elected to the Northwest Georgia District in 2020 and overwhelmingly reelected since, said she was resigning over her disillusionment with the nation's current political climate, as well as a recent political split with President Donald Trump. Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger visited Paulding County's election headquarters last week ahead of what's expected to be a marathon election cycle.
This is just a great opportunity to give them, a pat in the back, and obviously, yes, we have all these special elections going on, and then we get into the, primary, and then we'll have the primary runoff, and then obviously the fall. So this is a busy time of the year for people in that election space, but they're true professionals.
Polls will close at 7 p.m., and we'll bring you the latest right here on WTOC. Well, videos like this could become much more difficult for the public to access under a bill that survived crossover day last week. It would add extra steps to get mugshots and police video similar to what you're seeing right now. But it's raising questions about transparency. On one hand, supporters say it protects people from online abuse, while on the other, critics warn it could make it more difficult to hold law enforcement accountable. State House reporter Abby Kasouris explains how this would change the way Georgians obtain information.
Senate Bill 482 moved quickly through the Senate chamber without a single no vote. Supporters say it's aimed at mugshot mills, websites that post arrest photos and charge people to take them down.
We had people where cases have been dismissed or they were found not guilty, yet their mugshot lives everywhere. It follows them forever. Under the bill, mugshots and body cam video would still be public, but you'd have to go in person, name everyone captured, and bring a notarized statement. You won't misuse it. The Georgia First Amendment Foundation says that goes too far.
Putting in these requirements that are going to really shut down access to this information, it's pretty obviously going to lead to less oversight that I think will make people less safe.
Sheriffs say those extra steps could cut down on bulk requests that overwhelm their offices.
Monetization of someone else's misery is not right. It is 100% not right, and we've got to do something about this.
They say the current system lets companies collect hundreds of records at once using taxpayer resources to produce them.
Families are scared, so what do? They do something they normally wouldn't. They pay a scammer $1,000.
Transparency advocates say instead of directly regulating these mugshot mills, this bill makes it harder for journalists and regular Georgians to get records and police video.
You're not just going after one misuse, you're going after everybody who might want to get this information.
Abby Kasouris, Atlanta News First.
Well, we are 1 week away from St. Patrick's Day, believe it or not, and the big parade in Savannah as well. As the Irish holiday quickly approaches, city leaders are emphasizing public safety and to make sure that downtown is looking clean and green. Elevated fines, including ones for city ordinance violations, will be in effect all weekend. City marshals will be out enforcing littering, among other more serious violations. On top of that, the city just announced more enhanced safety measures. The city began using water barricades following last year's attack in New Orleans, where a man barreled down a crowded street. This year, city leaders say they will be deploying 4 times as many water barricades compared to last year's parade.
Just a reminder, security measures will be in place. There'll be 120 additional water barricades along the parade route. We will have an enhanced security footprint, and as of this morning, there are no credible threats. That is from our partners at the FBI and the GBI.
You'll want to start thinking about your parking and transportation plans now. Tow zones will be strictly enforced, and it can cost at least $257 for the first hour alone if your car gets towed. City leaders say before you park somewhere, look for any no parking signs. They also recommend either parking in the city lots for a flat $25 fee on St. Patrick's Day, or go to End Market Arena. You can park there for $35 with included shuttle services to downtown. Turning now to the gridiron, there are some big changes in the Falcons locker room as the team is reportedly signing former Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. According to ESPN, it'll be a 1-year deal, and it comes after Tua was just cut by Miami. His release follows a series of concussions that repeatedly kept him off the field. Tua could provide reassurance at QB for Atlanta, while starter Michael Penix Jr. recovers from a knee injury. In education news, dozens of colleges and universities in Georgia are waiving application fees for high school seniors this month. The effort is part of the Georgia Apply to College program, and we have posted a list of participating schools that's on our website right now at WTOC.com. And finally, happening tomorrow in Statesboro, a unique blend of rock music and real-world money smarts is hitting Statesboro High. Funding the Future, a national nonprofit, is bringing its Spring 2026 tour to Georgia schools, partnering with singer-songwriter Gooding for high-energy concerts that teach financial literacy. At 10 a.m. tomorrow, Statesboro High will host the event, turning the auditorium into a lively concert experience. Students will enjoy original music and Gooding's personal stories of resilience while picking up practical lessons on budgeting wisely, building credit, and avoiding debt. For Statesboro area families and educators, it's a fun, impactful way to get teens thinking about their financial futures. Kind of sounds like a modern-day version of the old-timey Schoolhouse Rock cartoons, for those who remember those. All right, with that, we're going to wrap things up here for the news on WTOC+. We appreciate you joining us this morning. We'll be back in 45 minutes for the news at noon with Mike Sela right here on WTOC and WTOC+. I'd like to thank you all for watching this morning, and here's Local News Live.